Good morning, everybody. Those of you who are there at this moment watching this in the morning. Good afternoon, those of you who are watching this in podcast form later on as a video, or good evening, good middle of the night. Who knows when you're watching this. So today we have a few things to discuss. You have a test coming up, so it's very important that you're prepared for it. I have told you several times that all of my tests, whenever you're allowed to use help with a glossary or with your dictionary or your textbook, it doesn't mean that they are going to be necessarily easier exercises on the test. They're not going to be necessarily easier to do, but that gives you a frame of reference to what you need to know. It's sometimes very difficult for people to memorize lists of words and definitions and all of that. But what's going to be very helpful is that you will have the list of the words with you. And those of you studying using some of the tools that I gave you some tools here on Quizlet. You will be familiar with how the lists are designed for you. So this list has 30 items, and I know a lot of you only have the flashcards form like that. A lot of you only have it like that. Those of you who actually have purchased a Quizlet Plus, which I don't think anybody did, but I'm just throwing it out there. Maybe somebody did. I don't think anyone did though. But I gave you a list, and here's how it is. The list has all the terms, and with the definitions are in Norwegian for this particular one because this is your first ever test with me. So you need to be prepared accordingly. And I decided to have the definitions in Norwegian just to make it easier for everyone. It might not always be that way. Some of the other lists that you will receive are not going to be. With translations, they will be English. But let's get to where we need to get right now. I assigned to you the text on the book Citizens called Fake News, Don't Be Fooled. So everybody by now will have read the text. I'm assuming that everyone has. If you haven't, there's still time, so you can read the text. All of the words, especially verbs, adverbs, and adjectives that you need to know are on this list. There are nouns on here too, but mostly I feel like there are lots of verbs, right? Pollyanna, what's a verb? A verb: to dance, to speak, to eat. Those are verbs, actions that you perform. There are adjectives, like this one here. The adjective fierce, which can be interpreted negatively or positively, depending on how you interpret it yourself. You can say, oh, that girl is a fierce runway walker because she walks down the runway. She's a supermodel and she can sell any garment that she is wearing because her walk is fierce, tough, absolutely intense and beautiful and cool. So it can be a very positive thing. So you say, that is fierce, right? That is an adjective. You say what something or someone is, right? That's an adverb, an adjective. Now let's go on to the adverbs. Don't want to confuse those. Okay. Adjectives, what something is, what somebody is. You say, this DVD is old. I've had it for 10 years. Old, adjective. Now here on the screen, you have the word currently. I am currently sitting in my home. So here is an adverb for you, currently. I am currently sitting in my home. Currently refers to when something is happening, right? You have adverbs of time that tell you when something is happening, and you have adverbs that describe how something is. For instance, you can say, Maria is cooking angrily. Should you see her face? She's angrily cooking. How is she doing that? She's doing that angrily. I know that some of you are saying, oh, so all the words that end the ly, ly, that's going to be an adverb all the time? No, it's not. But it can help you have an idea of perhaps a great percentage of the words that end in ly are going to be adverbs, a great percentage, not all of them. So here's what you need to do. You need to know all of these words. Not just know what they mean, but you need to know how to use them in sentences. I'm going to give you an example. This is the moment when I want everybody to be typing in the chat box. I know that people are like, oh, I don't have a YouTube channel, I don't have a YouTube account. That's fine. You can go in with your Gmail account and you can type in the chat box. That is how I'd like it to be done. If you can't, by any chance whatsoever, do it, then you can write on a piece of paper. But please try to type it in chat. So here's the next step of what we're going to do. I'm going to give you an example of how the test is going to be. So here we go. You open your test and you see this. Actually, you won't need to open it because it's just going to be one page, I think. And of course, you're able to keep that page with your list. But let us just see. Take a look at this. The sentence is, my cousin is a race car driver. He is, and then I have a blank here, and I have this. These two words. Which one of those words fits the sentence in the best way possible? Go. I want you to type in chat right now. I want to see either fooled or fierce in the chat box right now. So, my cousin is a race car driver. He is blank. Is it fooled or is it fierce? The answer is Fears. That's the answer. Fooled would not make any sense on there. So that's why fooled is not the answer. Fierce is. Let's give you another one. I am blank, sitting in my home. Which one is the correct answer for this? Currently or current? Currently or current? Which one is the correct answer for this? I want you to think about it. I also want you to remember things that I say because I just gave an example like that just a few minutes ago. So please type in chat. I am sitting in my home. Currently or current? The answer is currently. Why is the answer currently? Because currently is when. This is an adverb of time to tell you when something happens. I am currently sitting in my home. When were you sitting in your home? Currently, right now. Now I'm going to give you another example. Maria was knocking on the door. But this is not the door. The door is over there. So just knocking on the door. Now you have two words. Angrily and angry. One of them is an adverb, meaning how somebody does something, hint, hint. And the other one is an adjective, which could be what someone is or how someone is. So please type in chat which one you think is the correct answer. Maria was I'm waiting. All of you who wrote angrily knocking on the door, you are absolutely right. Because how was this woman knocking on the door? She was angry, right? So she was angrily knocking on the door. How was she doing this? The manner in which you do something is an adverb. What you are, what someone is, what something is an adjective. You can say, Jackie is a beautiful girl. What's the adjective? Beautiful, right? That song on the radio was so romantic. Adjective. What was the song? What was the song like? It was a romantic song. What kind of song was it? It was a romantic song. The next sentence I'm going to give you is Here we have the sentence. He was always a player. And I'm going to give you two options. Here you have two things. You have the adverb quickly, which is the manner in which you do something, how you do something. And then you have the adjective quick. All right? I'm going to give you 30 seconds to, bam, just go ahead and type in chat. He was always a. So to answer this, you have to think, all right, is this about what he was, or is it about how he did things? He was always a quick player. What kind of player was him? What kind of player was he? He was quick. Quick. Adjective. So I've given you a lot of examples now. Let's take a look. I gave you examples with adjectives and adverbs. Let's take a look at some examples with verbs. Let's look. All right, control. To control, that is a verb. All right. Now I'm going to. This is how your test is going to be. You're going to have alternatives and you have to pick which one fits the sentence best. That is one part of your test. Of course, that's not the whole thing. There'll be different things for you to do. Let's take a look at the next. The verb is to control. Maya blank the entire crowd by herself last month. She's a fantastic security guard. So here I'm going to have two forms of this verb, and you are required to put the right one in. Please type in chat the correct form of this verb. Those of you who chose controlled, you were right. How do you know it was controlled and not control? Please type in chat right now. How did you know it was controlled and not control? Those of you who said it has something to do with this expression last month, which is a set of items there, last month. When did this happen? Last month. It was past. You know, language teachers usually when they do this, it means past. Well, most language teachers that I know. Perhaps there's somebody out in the universe who teaches languages and doesn't do this, to talk about stuff that happened in the past. So past. And control. I control my anger whenever I can. So that's present. I controlled myself yesterday when I saw something happening and I didn't do anything about it. I controlled myself. Controlled. Usually, regular verbs in English, in the past, they will have this ed form. That's stuff that you learn in 8th grade, perhaps even before that. So you should know that. Let's take a look at this list and look for more verbs. To entice. To entice. Jackie always there we go. Jackie always blank people to do things. She lures them in with her persuasive nature. Persuasive. Somebody who's very convincing. They can convince you really easily. All right? I'm going to give you 3 options for this one. The 3 options are enticed. You see the ed in the end, you know it's a verb in the past. Well, most likely it will be. Entice or entices. Please choose one. Type it in the chat box. All of you who chose entices, all of you got it right. Now, I would like you guys, girls, y'all, whoever has chosen entices, please type in chat why you chose entices and not enticed or entice. This is very important. You have to know all of this. You have to know how to use these words. So Jackie always entices people to do things. And those of you who chose entices, it's because you remember when you studied, whenever you studied English, and at the beginning stages of learning English, you learned how to conjugate verbs. Conjugate verbs. I eat, you eat, we eat, right? I eat, you eat, he, she. If I want to say she, right? She eats. He eats. Very important. Very important. That S there is for third person. So I is first person. You is second person. He, she, and it third person. Oh, but the order of the pronouns does not matter. Oh, yes, it does. It does, because that's how you learn the grammar properly. The structure of what you learn has to be based on a set of rules so that you know when to use what. I entice, you entice, he entices. That S is third person singular. Okay, this is one part of how your test is going to be. There will be different types of things for you to do. For instance, you will have the opportunity to show me how you create sentences with the words. So you will get, for example, write 10 sentences using the words below. You'll get, let's take words that you haven't looked at today yet. Infected, inaccurate, inaccurate. That spelling was inaccurate, so I had to fix it. To affect, to convince, scandalous, to support, gathered. So you will have a list of 10, and it will be maybe 10. It will be maybe 10, maybe more. We'll see. We'll see what happens from the list of words that you have studied. So, sentence. Just so you know, if people are just going to be like, infected, I'm infected, that's okay. It is a sentence because it has a subject, I, am, and the verb, and then infected, which is the adjective. It's a sentence, but that's not what I'm looking for here. I want you to write meaningful sentences. So here is the example that I would give you. Jake was infected with a virus, even though he had been vaccinated. So you use the word, and you also showed that you can make meaningful sentences, that you can. So I want you to really think your sentences through. Please don't just say, oh, to convince, I convince. That's not a sentence. I mean, it is a sentence technically it is a sentence because you have I verb. You have an I plus a verb. I convince. So I subject, convince verb. So technically it is, but I'm not going to give you any points for that. You have to write meaningful sentences. So you can say, he convinced me to go. How about that? That's a sentence. So you have here to convince. But Pollyanna, it says to convince in there. You changed it. It's all good. By the way, don't be saying to people, don't say it's all good to people. This is just very colloquial and informal that I jokingly use. It's a sentence that I use as a joke with you. to try to sound like, oh, I'm so hip, I'm so cool, but that's not something you should you should say, although you should be able to understand it. It's okay to change the verb, to conjugate the verb. So he convinced me to go. The verb is to convince, and you changed it to convince. You changed it, you conjugated it. He convinced me to go. So the whole test that you're going to take is going to be like this: writing sentences, putting words in the correct way in the sentences, and you will show how much you know how to use the words. Not just to memorize the words. Oh, I know what it means in Norwegian. That's fantastic that you do know, but you should know how to use it. So here's what you're going to do now. All of you, perhaps not this book, because this is for studieforberedende, and you guys are yrkesfaglig. So I'm going to go and I'm going to open your book, your page for your book, and I'll give you the tasks that you're going to perform on your own. You probably have unabated there with you, but if you don't, you can still do all of this. You can still do it. You should do it. So you're going to this page, connections. Don't be fooled. Fake news, don't be fooled. I'm going to say this because it's extremely important that you know. If you have already done all of these exercises, do them again. You're studying for your test. Do them again. There is no excuse for people to not do this stuff. You have to do it. You have to study. You should have been studying a long time ago, but if you haven't been, then this is your shot because the test is this week. So you have to get ready. If you've done this, do it again. And here, this is a piece of information I feel obliged to give you. I can actually see, you know where it says elever here? I can look and see who has been working and who hasn't been working. The same thing with my Quizlet. On Quizlet, I have a list of your names and I can see if people are working or not working. So you're going to be working on fake news, don't be fooled. Do as many of the exercises as you can. As many as you can. Oh, I'm finished. And we still have 30 minutes. All right. Go to Quizlet. As soon as you find me on Quizlet, you have to go to where it says Classes, Selbo High School English, English VG1. Then you go here to Filter and you write Fake News, which is the text you're working on. Bam, there is your list. Read all the flashcards again. Do the learn again. I know that a lot of you like to do the match exercise, and it's fun. I hear you. It's fun. I mean, it's a good option. It's fun. It's interesting to work with this, but you should also work on the test, on also the learn aspect of it, because then you learn a lot more and you can study for study for your test a lot more. So I want you to work on all of this. There's no excuse. You have time, you have intelligence, and you have tools to work with. So you will be working with these things. A lot of you are on this list with very high scores, which I'm very proud of. But even if you don't have a high score, but you're studying, I am happy that you are. So please get busy. And perhaps now should be a good time. Here's what you do now. Take a break, 5 minutes, and then go back to the classroom, get your computers, and work on Quizlet and on the fake news segments of your book. Not the book, the paper book, but here online. The paper book, if you really like to study with the book, feel free to read the text again. And what you're supposed to be studying is this chapter, fake news. Fake news, don't be fooled. Have a great rest of your day. I am available on Skype. I am available on Messenger. I am available on Canvas. I am available everywhere. I am very easy to find. Pollyanna, I didn't get in touch with you because I couldn't find you. Google me. I'm so easy to find. Look at this. You write my name, and then the first thing that pops up, there's a lot of pictures of me, but then you find my Instagram, you find my Facebook, my YouTube, everything. So there's no excuse for you not to get in touch with me. Canvas, which is your school platform, I'm definitely going to be available there. Skype, Instagram, Facebook, anywhere online that you can find me, send me a message if you need something. Other than that, I'll see you the next time I am at school. Have a great rest of your day.